Hey Mal and Duma, can you guys just say you're sorry and hug it out already? Your personal vendettas are holding up the line, and we've got a happy ending to catch.
That little traitor who left us in the dirt.
Who said you weren't big or bad enough to be in her gang.
So Mal dumped a bucket of slimy shrimp on your head and called you Shrimpy.
Back when we were kids. Come on, you guys remember? She called her Shrimpy and the name just kind of...
So what? Have you seen who her mother is? She's already been punished enough. It's time to join forces and build a better Aradon because, let's face it, Belle and Beast totally missed the mark. Will the end of Descendants 3 be all butterflies and rainbows, or will the villains take over Aradon and wreak havoc? It's an EVK's game right now, so keep that box of Kleenex close, cause these sad theories are rotten to the core. Life on the Isle. From what we've seen in the films and trailers, the Isle of the Lost is an awful place. The king and queen took every bruised and rotten apple and trapped them on an island. The villains have tried to make a life for themselves, but they're underprivileged and trapped. All the villain kids on the Isle are born into terrible circumstances over which they have no control. They all have to pay for their parents' crimes. That is incredibly sad. We hope every VK gets the chance to a better life at the end of Descendants 3. Those left behind. In the VK Day trailer, the announcer says,
"Now we'll be choosing 4 villain kids to go to Oridon Prep today."
But what about the rest of the kids who are being left behind? It's sad to think that so many kids will not have access to the same opportunities. And it seems like a recipe for disaster. Those villain kids are going to be pretty upset at getting left behind. Maybe that's what Celia meant when she said that all of Aradon will pay. Evil is their only choice. We know that some villains made bad choices, but kids are not their parents, right? It would be so sad and unfortunate if these kids became as evil as their parents because they saw no other way out. Their potential would be squashed, and there would be a major threat to peace and harmony among those on the Isle and those at Aradon. Babies aren't born evil, which is why every VK has the chance to be good. But being raised on an Isle of villains is a surefire way to create an army of VKs. Friendships will end. Celia gave a very dark and foreboding prophecy about events to come in Descendants 3. She said that friendships will be tested.
Some will bend, some will break.
So which friendships will be the ones to break? If you look at the card that tears in half from Celia's tarot deck, it looks like Mal and Jay are on one side, while Evie and Carlos are on the other side. So these friendships are in jeopardy? Then Celia shows the card of betrayal. So who betrays whom? It would be terribly sad if the OG VK gang broke up. No good parents. If the first Descendants film taught us anything, it's that Mal, Evie, Carlos, and Jay had terrible childhoods. They were raised by selfish, neglectful, uncaring parents.
For 20 years, I have searched for a way off this island. For 20 years, they have robbed us from our revenge.
Who were only focused on revenge and getting off the Isle. From what we've seen in Descendants 3, Mal's dad is going to be very similar. It seems that he is also only concerned with vengeance and escaping the Isle.
Oh, Aradon, were you so arrogant to think if you wrong us, we shall not seek revenge?
It's sad that all the villain parents didn't learn anything from being banished. They could have turned their focus on the next generation so their children wouldn't have it as bad as they did. Unfortunately, revenge sounded sweeter than good parenting. Statues where friends should be. In the mystery trailer for Descendants 3, there is a very disturbing scene. Mal is looking at stone statues in the woods with total despair in her eyes. When we saw what she was looking at, our hearts sank. It's all of her friends. Evie, Carlos, Jay, Ben, and even Dude the dog have all been turned to stone. Mal looks completely devastated, but is this just another vision, like the one seen in the Mal's Darkness trailer? Or is this the saddest thing to ever happen to Mal? Seriously, this is worse than her mom becoming a lizard. A beastly legacy. Do you ever have a feeling that no matter how hard you try, you are destined to become just like your parents? And we don't mean the good parts. We are talking about repeating the same mistakes as they did. Take Ben, for instance. All he wants is to create a harmonious place where villain kids and Aradon kids coexist in peace. But in the mystery trailer, it looks like Ben is taking on a very undesirable characteristic from his dad's side of the family. He goes full beast in the trailer. It's such a bummer, considering he has done the best not to follow in his dad's beastly footsteps. A new rule. Since the beginning of time, it seems that people have fought for the right to rule over lands. Auradon and the Isle of the Lost are no different. So many villains have fought for power and control. It's a tale as old as time, but one thing seems to be true in nearly every single fairy tale. Someone bigger and stronger always tries to steal the crown. It seems that there are many resentful villains who are trying to take the crown for themselves. We know that the crown has been stolen from the museum, and we know that a great evil will have their revenge forever. So, can we really expect a happy ending? When heroes disappoint. In the Good to Be Bad trailer, they announced the highly anticipated VK Day.
Val and the other VKs will collect the applications today and announce who gets to go to Auradon Prep.
Mal, Levy, Carlos, and Jay are collecting applications from tons of villain kids to be accepted to Auradon Prep, but only 4 VKs will get accepted. Mal sings about how everybody wants to be like them. It's hard to watch that without thinking that she's kind of rubbing her freedom in all the VK's faces. So many young villain kids look up to Mal and her crew, so what happens when their heroes disappoint them? It's going to be a sad day for a lot of kids when they pick the final 4. The end of an era. By far, the saddest thing that will happen with D3 is that it's the end of an era. We're pretty sure that this will be the last Descendants film, which makes us super sad. We've watched our favorite villain kids evolve, from wand stealing outsiders to boss kids who are providing hope for so many kids on the Isle. And after this movie ends, there might not be any more Descendants films. Will they skip the famous last line? Is this the end of the story for good? We can't even think about it. It's just so sad. So how do you think the story will end? Let us know what your theories are in the comment section below. Thanks for watching The Things. Be sure to subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up if you want more videos about your favorite villain kids. Catch you next time!